Good morning, I'm Sunetra Choudhury, political editor of the Hindustan Times, bringing you all that you need to know about Covid-19 on Wednesday, the 8th of July. First up, a look at the numbers. In just the last 24 hours, we've seen 22,928 new infections. The number of dead now stands at 20,648. Our top story today is how the hotspots for these infections in the country seem to be changing. From Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Delhi, they are now moving to other states. Karnataka and Telangana seem to be emerging as the new hotspots, and you can make that out by the positivity rates and the growth rates. Take, for instance, the doubling time, which is the number of days that it takes in doubling the number of cases. Well, Karnataka is now doubling at 8.5 days, and Telangana is doubling at 9.5. Both of these numbers are much faster than the national average. In fact, the positivity rate, which is the number of tests that come out positive as against the total number of people tested, and it is a huge indication, and places like Delhi, the positivity rate has fallen from 30% to 10%. Well, in Telangana, the current positivity rate is 27.6%. So just a heads up for all the people over there and the policymakers, because the hotspots now seem to be changing and new ones seem to be emerging. Well, speaking of which, one of the key things, as we've been stressing all along, is testing. That's what international experts have been pointing out as well. And while we have tested 10 million people, it is, of course, 0.8% of the population, which is why there is a need to increase it, because other countries, whether it's Brazil, whether it is Russia, or China even has tested a much larger. China, for instance, has tested 6% of its population. And so one of the things that has been initiated in Mumbai is walk-in tests. For instance, you can get tested in Mumbai now and you don't need a medical prescription. Right now in Delhi and other places, you need to show a doctor's prescription, which would say that you've been in contact with someone or you're high risk for whatever reason, and that's why you need to get tested. In Mumbai, they have done away with the doctor's prescription, and as experts say, it is a walk-in test is what you need to scale up testing. So hopefully policymakers are listening to that. Well, speaking of stepping up and ramping up, one of the things is how much are we spending on health? Well, in a meeting that was held between the Finance Commission and led by Finance Commission Chair N.K. Singh, Niti Aayog officials, World Bank officials and others, there was a stress on the need to up the center's spending on health. At the moment, it is just about 1.29% of the GDP, which is 2.6 lakh crores. Now, this is one of the reasons why we are lagging behind in our health resources. And if you compare it to any developed country, for instance, if you compare it to the UK, it spends 9.6% of its GDP on health. Well, Finance Commission head N.K. Singh has now told Hindustan Times that he is going to make recommendations, which is going to up the spending on health from that current percentage to 2.1% of the GDP over the next 5 years. This is going to be his next report, and he has shared those details, which you can read in hindustantimes.com. Well, speaking of progress, one of the things that we've seen is that in March, masks and sanitizers were put on the essential commodities list because it was feared that there was going to be a shortage of them. But there has been such a ramping up of production and manufacturing that now there is an excess, and now they've been taken off the essentials list. A lot of the thing behind it is the fact that now there is a huge encouragement of 2-ply or 3-ply cloth masks, and that has gone a huge way in helping counter the coronavirus because it has been shown to be very effective. Government, of course, says that they're going to keep a close eye on the prices of masks and sanitizers so that it isn't misused. And finally, Brazil's President Bolsonaro has now tested positive for the coronavirus. It may be noted that Bolsonaro was one of the people who really played down the ravaging effects of the coronavirus and the pandemic by saying it's just a little flu. More concerning than that is the fact that he spent the 4th of July weekend being seen in the company of his minister and the American ambassador without masks and seeing in close proximity with them. So this is just a fair warning to all of us how dangerous the coronavirus can be. Those are the news updates for now. Keep tracking them on hindustantimes.com.